bring it to you. Sisiphakeze seshushu ke apha Keith Ngesi Radio. So. Because I mean, we are discussing current affairs. We'll be bringing you the lowdown on what is happening upper events. And in the meantime, let's get straight into which we know of the type of news that we don't necessarily enjoy, but we are obligated to at least look into what's happening with it. Espingo residents eThekwini municipality allegedly held up a water tanker at gunpoint, instructing the driver to deliver to specific areas. This comes as an eThekwini Metro municipality employee who was reportedly in charge of the water tankers and their deliveries was affected or to affected areas was gunned down at Verulem on Saturday. Parts of KZN, especially in the eThekwini municipality, have been without water for quite some time due to the floods that caused extensive damage to the infrastructure. The municipality has dispatched water tankers so that residents can use them for drinking, bathing, and cooking. Other non-governmental organizations and shopping malls have been distributing water to eThekwini residents as well. On Saturday, the municipality also implemented water restrictions in the north, south, and inner west areas to prevent reservoirs from running dry. According to Lotus FM, Ispingo Hills residents held a water tanker driver at gunpoint, instructing them to deliver water. A 36-year-old eThekwini municipality employee was shot and killed on Saturday, the 23rd of April. KZN Private Security Reaction Unit, SA, RUSA, said multiple bullet casings were found near her body. The deceased woman was employed as a supervisor for the eThekwini municipality. She was allegedly shot and killed on the Old Main Road, Ottawa, KZN, outside water and sanitation roads and stormwater maintenance depot. eThekwini municipality mayor Mxolisi Kaunda condemned the killing. Kaunda urged all those who have information regarding the incident to come forward and work with police. He says, we are in a grip of disaster, and this murder is something we do not need. This employee was urged with critical responsibility of controlling our water tankers. KZN Premier Sihle Zigalala also condemned the brutal murder of the 36-year-old employee. This is not on, man. This is not right. In the city of Joburg, Vasco da Gama will face his first no-confidence motion on Tuesday. Which is today, 5 months after being elected. The motion was submitted by Al Jama'ah Councillor Tapelo Ahmad and seconded by fellow members of the Councillor Kabelo Kwamanda. Listed as the top 4 reasons for wanting his dismissal, Takama is alleged to be biased in council, allows DA members to sit in restricted areas in the chambers, censors councillors from opposition parties by muting their microphones, and also runs council like a military state by deploying Johannesburg Metro Police in the council precinct. Dagama was previously ousted as a speaker in 2019 via a motion of no confidence and replaced by ANC's Nongceba Molwele, with the help of 2 rogue DA councillors. Hoping history repeats itself, Ahmad wrote that Dagama had failed to safeguard the council's independence. It's all going down. 5 months after the elections. Sebeqalile ngevote of no confidence. Hayi ntanga, awufunwa pha hamba. 26 after 9. A community activist was shot dead at an ANC branch general meeting in the Northwest. And had previously survived 2 attempts on his life. Offense Chipankomo, who's 38 years old, who had been campaigning for 5 years to have a new and young leadership take over in his Ward 20 branch in Madibeng region in Brits Northwest, was shot dead by unknown assailants in front of his 2 children on Sunday. Nkomo had been at the meeting where he expected 2 young people he had been campaigning for in the ward to take over leadership of their branch. He had even had his 7-year-old and 11-year-old daughter with him. His distraught family said that in 2019, Nkomo had survived 2 attempts on his life, which included an incident at his grandmother's house in Garangua, where his close friend, known to the family as Kuma, was shot dead. Nkomo's sister, Maggie Makate, believed that his brother had created enemies for himself due to politics in the area. She said he knew that there were people who wanted him dead, but on Sunday he did not see this coming. She said they last spoke on Saturday on the phone when Nkomo was in very high spirits. Makate described Nkomo as someone who had been fighting to get Nyaupe off the streets of Mototlung. He even took some of these Nyaupe addicts and brought them to live with him in his house. He had become something very positive. Outside the Mototlung Community Hall, where Nkomo was shot dead by unknown men, 3 rifle casings had been seen on Monday, about a meter apart from each other. Nkomo was standing outside the hall which is 2 blocks away from his home, while the other branch members were making their way into the venue for the meeting. An eyewitness who was with Nkomo said a white BMW with tinted windows entered the community hall and parked a few meters from them. We couldn't tell how many occupants it had been because it had really dark windows. As a man wearing a black hooded jacket and balaclava got out of the driver's seat holding a rifle, Nkomo started running towards the gate. I think somehow it rang on him that something was about to go down. Chipa started running while I froze as the man with the rifle started shooting to the ground. Another man with a rifle alighted from the passenger seat and pursued Nkomo, who had struggled to jump over the bonnet of a parked car. Chipa was then rounded off by 2 gunmen, shot at him while he was down. Nkomo's political associate, who was also spoke on condition of anonymity, said Nkomo had felt that he had achieved his mission to see them changing their minds in the ward. May he rest in peace. That is a horrible way to die. In Johannesburg, help has come for a homeless graduate and waste recycler Gibson Nzimande. Nzimande's master's studies at the University of Joburg had to be placed on hold due to his financial situation after a family feud following his mother's death saw him lose everything in 2019. But he never gave up. On Friday, the Eyewitness News told the story of a 34-year-old who had been living in the streets of Sandton and caught the attention of his former lecturer at UJ, Brett Bennett. He said, we set him up with clothes and we have been coordinating with the university and also just finding out this amazing story about his network he has and his resilience. It's so emotional and we are so happy that we can restart it, Bennett said. Nzimande said that while he was forced onto the street due to financial challenges, he never allowed this to bury the dream to one day become a lecturer. Challenges mustn't bury you, but rather teach you a lesson. He took it as a challenge, but for me, it was something to grow me in life, Nzimande said. A crowdfunding initiative has been set up to help Nzimande. And it seems like he's well back on track to go and do his master's studies at the University of Johannesburg. Don't we need stories like that? 30 minutes after 9, and we go into sports. It was devastatingly sad weekend for lovers of South African sport, not just rugby, with the news of the death of 2 former Springboks. Mzansi woke up on the news on Saturday that former Springbok loose forward Pedri Vandenberg had been killed in a multiple car crash in Texas in the United States. A 16-year-old driver had attempted to flee the police and crashed into the vehicle in which Vandenberg and his family were driving. Vandenberg also, along with his 8-year-old son Francois, were airlifted to the hospital, but sadly Vandenberg succumbed to his injuries. He was 41 years old. Thankfully, Vandenberg's wife, Yvette, and daughter, Isabel, 10 years old, miraculously escaped unharmed. Earmarked for higher honors since his school days at Hoërskool Landbou School, Oakdale in the Southwestern District, Vandenberg was a member of SA Under-21 team that won the World Championships on home soil in 2002. He made the Springbok debut against France in Paris in 2002 at the age of 21 and would go on to win 20 test caps. Just as South Africans were coming to terms with Vandenberg's death, came the news that former Springbok captain Dawie de Villiers had died after a long fight with cancer. He was 81 years old. De Villiers was born on the 10th of July, 1940 in Burgersdorp. After he had finished his schooling at Belleville High School, he studied theology at Stellenbosch University. He was later a minister in the old National Party regime, but was also in the first democratically elected government under the late former Nelson Mandela. De Villiers also served as a South African ambassador in London, as well as a lecturer in philosophy, in which he completed his doctoral studies in the Reverend in the Dutch Reformed Church. Provincially, De Villiers played scrum half for Western Province, Boland, and the Lions, and then still Transvaal. He played 25 tests and a total of 53 matches for the Springboks between 62 and 1970, and the captain in 22 tests. The first against the All Blacks in New Zealand in 65 at the age only of 25 years old. Finally, and further afield in this beautiful but troubled continent of Africa, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta opened on Monday a public viewing of former leader Mwai Kibaki's body as it lies in state within the parliament buildings in the capital, Nairobi. Mwai Kibaki left a long-lasting legacy ranging from a new constitution, a revived economy, democracy, and free primary education, amongst others. The governor of Kitui County, Charity Ngilu, evokes Kibaki's many achievements. We saw him as spearhead of the economy of this country, from the doldrums during the KANU, the Kenya African National Union, former ruling party, days where the economy had gone down, but he put in structures, infrastructure, and most importantly, gave us a new constitution that we are enjoying and celebrating today. His re-election for a second term in 2007 was opposed by his opponent, Raila Odinga. The dispute was followed by weeks of ethnic violence. He believed in the law so long as it was take people forward. The anti-progress kind of agenda that he may have taken on board during the one-party era, I think it was partly politics of survival. But as soon as he became president, you could see the path, and the path was for the path of progress and bringing out about transformation in Kenya. James Orengo said, President Kenyatta declared a period of mourning in the country. Former President Mwai Kibaki will be given a state funeral with full military honors.
We are extraterrestrial. We are KNR. You're listening to the sound.
Sound good together, huh?
On KNR.